3 years ago, Miziziziz, a game developer here on YouTube, posted a video called How to Become a Really Good Game Developer in Under a Year. Many months ago, I was inspired, and I decided to follow his instructions, and now I'd like to show you the results. Here's some context on my background. I have a bachelor's in computer science, and I'd meddled with game development in Unity and Godot on and off for a while now, but I had never taken game development seriously, and I decided I wanted that to change. His plan includes a schedule where you make a number of small games in a time frame that looks a bit like this. I'd have to make a game in an hour, then a day, then 2 days, a week, and then 2 weeks, and then repeat the whole thing again. After that, I would need to make a bunch of medium-sized games where the objective was to create an interesting mechanic and add around 5 unique levels that scale in difficulty. So let's check it out. Hour 1. 1 hour platformer. This game was titled 1 hour platformer, though I wouldn't call it a platformer much at all. In this game, you run away from the red rectangles. Exciting. Day 1. Pong. This is Pong, plain and simple, if a bit buggy. The text says that this took 1 day, but out of my free time, it was really like 2 to 4 hours. 2 days. Odious. Odious is a horror game about being trapped in a maze while being hunted by this alien creature. You have to collect orbs hidden around the maze to win and escape. I had my friends play this game, which was fun. The poor visibility really makes this game kind of hard and annoying. Regardless, following some advice from Thomas Brush, I eventually elected to publish this game on itch.io. I posted a link to it in the description, so you can play it if you want, but it isn't all that polished. 1 week. Walk the woods. I toyed around a lot with what I actually wanted this game to be, and after much indecision and a few wasted days, I decided I just wanted it to look nice. I saw a YouTube short by Thomas Brush where he makes a nice looking forest in Unity, and I decided to try to mimic that style. The game is a spooky forest walking simulator where if you go off the path or touch the grass, these ghost locals will surround you, follow you, and eventually kill you. There are also many distractions to try to lead you off the path. Spooky. I also published this game on itch.io, and I thought it did surprisingly well for a game made in a week. It got a decent number of downloads, and it even had people making Let's Play videos. I suspect that it got some attention because, number 1, the graphics looked nice, and number 2, it had a GIF that drew people in. 2 weeks. Survive Together. Survive Together is a bit of a mess. Basically, I looked at Vampire Survivors and thought, hey, I could do that, but I could make it multiplayer. Spoiler alert, I made a buggy piece of crap, but it was functionally multiplayer, which I think is pretty cool. Multiplayer was a bit new to me, and Vampire Survivors has a ton of projectiles, which made desync a major issue and slowed down development fixing networking issues. I ended up not finishing it. Okay, time to restart. 1 hour. This game was called 1 hour Sidescroller, and the gimmick here is that I wanted it to be an infinite runner. So it is. If you fall or the edge of the screen touches you, you die. Easy peasy. 1 day. This game was Asteroids, but I remember not having much time to work on this one. You can shoot and fly around and kill asteroids, so maybe it is good enough. 2 days. This game was called Fleshfall, and it was supposed to be a narrative experience about playing as a criminal sentenced to death by being dropped into the ocean in this glass box. I spent a bit too much time making it look like an underwater environment, and not enough time on the gameplay, which is a bit of a theme, actually. 1 week. Choose your champion. Initially inspired by an itch game called First Cut, I wanted to make something similar, but just AI controlled. I also wanted the player to be able to control the attributes of their fighter, like strength, defensiveness, etc. I spent a lot of time on importing these free animations I found, and then I got stuck on the AI portion with some hacky finite state machine solution, and eventually decided to abandon that. Sadly, I don't have any footage of the original design, but I did turn it into this physics-based block smashing thing before I ran out of time. 2 weeks. God is Coming. This game is called God is Coming and was inspired by the game Squirrel Stapler. You played as a mentally ill veteran trying to resist the temptation of a devil called Baphomet while going on small quests around town. I did a lot of work for this game, and I'm actually pretty proud of it. I didn't end up finishing it, but it had a really cool dialogue system, NPCs, an inventory, a basic questline, traversable rooms and houses, working animated guns and weapons, and a bunch of other stuff. Unfortunately, I got to a point where I realized I built all these cool systems, but I didn't give any thought to the actual gameplay loop. So by the time 2 weeks came around, it was interesting, but not much of a game. At this point, I stopped following the plan Miz laid out. I had been spending pretty much all my free time for 2 months doing this, and I didn't plan any days off, so I got a bit burnt out on it. I'd suggest that if you want to follow this schedule, make sure to give yourself some time in between making the larger 1 or 2 week games. So, with that in mind, did I fail to follow the schedule to its conclusion? Yes. Do I today consider it a worthwhile investment of my time? Absolutely. In the end, being a game developer is about making games, and that video and schedule inspired me to get off my butt and do it. Just spending 2 months doing this seriously taught me so much that I still use today in all my games since then and the commercial project I am working on now. If you're on the fence, just try giving it a shot. You might be very happy with where you end up in a year's time looking back. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what I've built. If you're interested in seeing more about my recent projects, please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks.